Do you know that person that seems to bounce back from everything? The one who faces setbacks and never seems to stay down? While most people crumble under pressure, resilient people seem to know three secrets that I'm going to share with you today. So, if you have been through loss, you're grieving a loved one, you are suffering from mental illness, you've gone through a divorce, you've had your heart broken, you have physical limitations, you have had, a health situation. You've been through adversity, and if you are a human being, you're eventually, if you have not already, you're going to go through some stuff. So let me tell you about one of the lowest points in my life. A couple years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that diagnosis, of course, just brings a lot of emotion. And as a single mom, I was pretty much alone. But I had to come home and tell my son about the diagnosis. I went through a mastectomy. Um, came home, had friends to help me, but it's a difficult time. But a year later, I went in for reconstruction and was in the hospital for a week. I had three surgeries, and that reconstruction failed. And I had to come home and recover from that then, um, thinking that I would be somewhat normal, or feel somewhat normal with a breast. And I came home with nothing and feeling worse emotionally and physically than I did when I had the breast cancer and had the mastectomy. Then I learned something that changed everything. Resilience is not about being tough. It's not pretending that everything is fine. Then I learned something that changed everything. Resilience isn't about being tough or pretending everything's okay. It's these three simple secrets that I'm going to share with you today. These things took me from, surviving all the difficult times that I went through to thriving. And I'm just going to share those with you today. So, number one is accept that suffering is part of life. Everybody goes through it. You're going to go through things, and it's going to happen. It's part of life. It's part of the human experience. Don't have an attitude where you think, "Oh, why me? Why did this happen to me?" You're just going to have to just realize that it happens to everybody, and you're going to go through it. And you know that pain and loss and grief and heartache are just part of life. So here's how you can get through it next time something happens is just tell yourself, yeah, this is hard and I'm going through it. I am struggling, but it's normal. It's a normal part of life. And don't judge yourself or think that you're not good enough or trying hard enough for the situation. And don't compare yourself and your problems and your issues with other people. Just accept the fact that it's the human experience and you will get through it. The next one is turn your problems into gifts. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and was grateful for the fact that it was found early, was grateful for the fact that I did not need to have chemotherapy. And I just thought positive because, there's always something to be grateful for. And then the last one is ask yourself the question, is this helping or harming me? I know when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I would Google breast cancer diagnosis and things, and that was absolutely not helpful. And if you know, you know, Google is not always your friend. So um, it's that was definitely not helpful because it brings up all kinds of things and it just gets your mind going and not helpful. Not helpful at all. I think it was more harmful than anything. And an example of if what you're doing is helpful. If you're suffering from grief, if you have had a loss of a loved one, going through photos while you're preparing for a funeral or later on down the road, going through photos and looking at memories and things like that and looking at your loved one. And, I find that and have found that to be helpful. Even at 60, almost 60 years old, I still have, and I'm going to have plenty of issues come up in my life. have plenty of grief that I'm going to suffer. There's going to be loss, there's going to be things that come up. And I think these three things, especially, are helpful. So let me know in the comments what you have used, if you've used any of these tools or secrets, to help you through life. And I would love to hear about it. And I will see you next time.